to the United States of America for convening this timely discussion. We also thank our briefers for their insightful but very sobering remarks. Madam President, the fight against hunger remains one of the international community's most noble yet difficult endeavors. Decades of progress in the quest for global food security are being erased in the face of the worst global pandemic in over a century. Rampant climate change and ecological destruction, protracted conflicts, and other acute challenges, such as the desert locust infestation, we have to grapple with these. We can and we must do better to ensure that everyone, everywhere, has access to sufficient, safe, and nutritious food. For vulnerable and conflict-affected communities, including refugees, internally displaced persons, and those made stateless as a result of political, socio-economic, and environmental forces beyond their control, addressing hunger is more than a moral imperative. It is an existential concern. This challenge brings into closer focus the need for a comprehensive and coordinated whole-of-system approach to address the root and proximate causes of fragility and insecurity. The Security Council, as the primary body tasked with maintaining international peace and security, must spare no effort in our attempts to protect the most vulnerable, including by facilitating full, safe, and unhindered humanitarian access to those in need. The Security Council must also work more closely with the General Assembly and the Economic and Social Council to foster developmental solutions that meet the basic needs of people in conflict settings. The Peace Building Commission, with its strategic advisory capacities and its convening platform, is also useful in consolidating our efforts across the peace and security humanitarian developmental nexus. We must leverage these capacities more often. For our part, St. Vincent and the Grenadines has accelerated our efforts to provide food security throughout our nation and across our region. Even though we have been tried and tested by this pandemic, we have ensured that life, living, and production continue, and that we can feed ourselves and our neighbors. We are the breadbasket of the Southern Caribbean. Our farmers and fisherfolk remain crucial stakeholders to these efforts, and we will do what we must to support them as they continue to support us. In this regard, we reiterate our calls for urgent, concerted, and decisive action to tackle climate change, which is linked to food insecurity. The FAO, Oxfam, WPF must continue to play a very critical role. While we agree that conflict is a primary driver of hunger in some contexts, extreme weather events, including floods and droughts, also undermine agricultural productivity and create food insecurity. The continued suffering of our brothers and sisters in Haiti, one of the most food insecure countries in the entire world, is a painful reminder of the interlinkages between natural disasters, the political and economic instability. Greater efforts are therefore needed on all fronts to address the interconnecting challenges of conflict, climate change, and food insecurity. All parties to conflict and those with influence over them should heed our collective call for a global ceasefire. Global action must be accelerated to keep temperature rise below 1.5 degrees, above pre-industrial levels. Emissions must be reduced, and financial commitments towards adaptation measures must be upheld. And major donors, including the international financial institutions, should scale up the assistance offered to developing and conflict-affected countries, including by expanding debt relief and concession funding. To conclude, Madam President, we underscore the need for inclusive multilateral solutions to advance the Sustainable Development Agenda. If we are to make good on our collective promise to end hunger by 2030, we must work together. We have a shared global responsibility. Let us hold offenders accountable. I have hope of success. I thank you for your kind attention.